So you've had an offer accepted. You've been instructing the surveyor, instructing the solicitor, doing all the things that a buyer should do. And then you find out that the property is still on the market. It's still being advertised by the estate agent. You might do a secret call, or get a friend to do a secret call, and find that the estate agent is even showing the property to other people. So what's going on, and what can you do about it? I'll explain that after this intro.
I'm Tim Hill, internet entrepreneur, property investor, and author of How to Really Buy a Property. No, it's not one of those books that goes on and on about how you can make millions investing in property, and all you have to do is go on my course to learn the secrets, and then you go on my course and you find out that you have to go on my master course to learn the real secrets. None of that. If you have decided to buy a property, no matter what your motivation, then How to Really Buy a Property is the smart way to do it. And it will save you time, money, and stress.
Okay, so you've had an offer accepted. Things are moving. Yet the estate agent is still marketing the property to prospective buyers. Now, the vendor may or may not know about that. The vendor might be out to work every day. He's assumed that the property is off the market. He doesn't know that the estate agent is coming around all the time showing new people. Property might be vacant. Vendor may not know. So don't make any assumptions that the vendor's out there trying to shaft. Okay, so right, let's blame the estate agents then. Right, let's be really clear about this. The estate agent acts for the seller. It's their obligation to act in the seller's best interest. Not yours, not you as the buyer, the seller. Okay, so that means that you're there as the buyer, but there's no obligation for you to go through with your offer. Yes, you've got the survey going through, or it's done. You've got the solicitor beavering away on the paperwork. You can change your mind anytime you like. You've lost the survey money. The solicitor's going to charge you a little bit of money, but you can just walk away. And the estate agent knows that. So what they would need to do is just keep the interest going on the property that you've made an offer on, because that's in the best interests of the vendor and because they are legally obliged to do so. So usually the estate agent isn't going around with new buyers saying, hey, this property's under offer, but the person hasn't paid the asking price. If you pay the asking price, maybe we can, gazump her and get you in. Yeah. Some estate agents will do that because they get a little bit more commission if the sale price is a bit higher. But generally, estate agents use this kind of opportunity to help out other buyers, quite literally. So, a new buyer just started viewing properties. They want to know what are they going to get for their money, from what they can afford, what can they buy. Going around to see properties which are under offer really helps them say, right, I can see this property on the market for 100,000. It's under offer, maybe not at the asking price. The estate agent shouldn't reveal that. But you can say, right, for 100,000, this is the kind of property I can get. And I know that's true because other people are buying at this price. So that is the true market price, not some theoretical vendor who came on yesterday, said, I think my house is fab and I want 100,000 for it, when really actually houses around there only get £8,000. This is an absolute case. And the estate agent is using that to educate the buyer. So now, morally, of course, the estate agents should have said to you when the offer was agreed, by the way, we act in the interests of the vendor. We are going to keep marketing your property, but most of them don't because obviously they're worried that you'll get a bit upset about that and you might walk away and they'll lose the deal and so on. So they get shy. Now, the only way to stop the property being marketed is if the vendor specifically instructs it. So I've talked about this in other videos about how to make an offer, and in that situation what I've said is, first of all, you make an offer that's so low the vendor's going to reject it, and then you come up with your offer to a point where you are fairly confident it's going to be accepted, but with demands. And one of those demands is that the property is taken off the market, the estate agent stops marketing it, not on the website, not in the window display, no viewings for say 6 weeks. if you know what you're doing, you shouldn't take more than 4 weeks to get to exchange of contract. Let's say 6 weeks. And you're making that demand as part of your offer. Now, 90, 99, I'd say, percent of vendors probably thought that the property wasn't going to be marketed anyway. They're as unaware of it as you are. So they'll say, oh, great, I got a better offer by agreeing to something which I thought was going to happen anyway. Happy days. And then you're reducing that chance of what I call an accidental gazumping, because your property's still there and it's still being shown. But the vendor needs to instruct the estate agent in writing so that they can get out of their legal obligation. If they don't, and you pull out of the sale, then the vendor can say, well, I've lost a lot of money because of that, and you don't have a replacement lined up for me. You weren't even trying to get a replacement lined up for me, in the background. You've cost me money. I'm going to sue you. And they'll win, because the estate agent has reneged on their legal obligation to act in the vendor's best interests. Okay, so all well and good. That's how you should have tied up the offer. Problem is, what if you didn't do that? You weren't aware of it. You haven't watched my videos. Haven't read my book, and so you're only just now aware of the situation. What are you going to do? Well, now it's much more tricky, because if you go making demands like, I want this property off the market, and that gets into a conversation with the vendor, the vendor might start saying, well, I didn't know it was still being viewed, but now the estate agents explained to me why they're still viewing the property. That makes sense. You buyer, you've got no obligation to go through on this offer. And what if you walk away? Well, it's me that suffers then, not you. And they might say something like, but I promise, I'm not going to let you get gazumped. Somebody might make me a higher offer, but we've done the deal. Obviously, the closer you are to exchange of contracts, the more likely, if there's a higher offer, the vendor will reject the higher offer. They don't want to start the whole paperwork process all over again with a buyer they don't know at all and don't know if they're reliable, if you're likely to exchange the contract next week. Okay, so, but now, if you go to do something like, throw the rattle out of the pram and say, well, if you don't stop viewing the property, I'm going to walk away. This is your one chance of a threat and actually following through. If it's quite early on in the process and the market's quite buoyant, the vendor's going to maybe say, look, no, I'm not going to go down that route. I want my property to still be viewed. And if that's the case, then, and the vendor comes back and says that, because they've understood from the estate agent why it's happening and the risks that would happen if they stop marketing the property, and then you don't walk away because it was an empty threat, then the next time that something else comes up in the paperwork, say something comes up on the survey that one of the windows might need replaced, the seller already knows that you're weak, that you make threats but you don't follow through on them, that you really do want this property. So there needs to be a new window. It's going to cost about £1,000. You say to the seller, I want £1,000 off the asking price because of that window. And the seller goes, nah, you're not going to walk anywhere. You're gonna pay what you agreed, and I'm not going to drop the price. Whereas if you hadn't gone through that process, then you'd stand more of a chance of getting that kind of price renegotiation going on. So yeah, if the property is still on the market, you can ask. A reasonable vendor might say, okay, this is the gentleman's thing to do. I'm going to take the property off the market and tell the estate agent to stop viewing it. But don't be surprised if the vendor, when they think about it, says, no, I do want to make sure people are still aware of my property. I do want, and maybe not a viewings, maybe, but it's still, on the website or in the front window of the estate agent, so that the estate agent's got, this little list of people that if you walk away as a buyer, the estate agent can pick up the phone to these list of people and go, hey, property back on the market, and get things moving again. So don't be surprised if you don't get your way. Best thing always to do is get that agreement at the offer stage. I'm offering you this much, but only if blah blah blah. 99% of the time, I don't think I've ever had that fail. the vendor will go, yeah, that's okay. It's part of making an offer. That's in a separate video, but that's part of it. If you do it right, if you make yourself sparkle as a buyer, and then you throw in that demand, I've never seen a vendor say no. I want to keep marketing. I want people to carry on viewing my property.
That's all for this short video. There's much more information in the book, How to Really Buy a Property. As always, if you found this information useful, please remember to subscribe, to share, to like, to do all those social media things. It all helps other people who need this information find it more easily. If you've got some specific questions which you'd like me to have a go at answering, please put them in the comments below and I'll try and get to them. And in the meantime, good luck with your property purchase.